since I watched Arcane, I have started to play the game. I'm playing like 1 or 2 games occasionally, fighting against beginner bots and whatever. I'm like, I mean, I guess my teammates are real people. I have this really memorable experience with a character called Timo. I thought he was like really cute. And then he was like following me to my lane, fighting 2 beginner bot opponents. And then I died. Obviously, I died. And then Timo kind of just left the game. If you've never played, it's kind of fun. If you're obsessed with it, then you're probably gonna look at me like, that's not called playing League. But yeah, I started playing the game, and it is not related to the show, which I already knew. I was curious to see if playing the game would change my opinion or the way I watch the show Arcane. Season 2 is off to a great start. I've just seen Act 1, so the first 3 episodes. I was afraid it was gonna be bad, because you know when one season is good, sometimes it puts a lot of expectations and pressures on second seasons, and they don't always turn out to be very good, or they don't actually live up to that. But this show so far has. There will be spoilers, okay? I assume that you've already seen at least Act 1 of Season 2 of Arcane, because why else would you be in this video unless you want to hear about my League playing journey? Anyway, so now that I've played the game, and I'm watching Arcane again, it made me wonder if you do play the games and you do know the lore. I feel like this show is kind of predictable. All of the champions or the characters in the show that are also characters in the game, I feel like they're not gonna die in the show. Because in one of the episodes in the first act, Vi and Jinx were like fighting, and it almost seemed like they were gonna slay Jinx. But I'm just like, there's no way they're gonna slay Jinx. Well, I guess this happens with shows too, because you're like, oh, this person's the main character. There's no way they're gonna kill off the main character. Does that sort of apply to every single character in this show that's also a champion in the game? Because remember at the end of season 1, when Jinx fired that shark missile thing to the council building while they were all sitting there, you were kind of wondering, does everybody in that council just die? I thought they were all gonna die. But no, it just so happens that, well, Jace and Victor are champions, so they weren't disposed of. The others, yeah, they're all up for grabs, I guess. So it just felt like, I'm like, was that very obvious? Because I wouldn't have known that if I didn't play the game. But now thinking back, I'm like, I guess if I had known they were characters in the game, I would have already known they probably wouldn't have gotten rid of them too. I know Vi and Jinx are like main characters, but like the whole Piltover story, there isn't really one single character. I mean, I guess Victor and Jace, they're like main characters too, but like, did any of the main characters get, okay, Caitlyn's mom, she was killed. I don't remember her that well. She was just kind of a council member slash Caitlyn's mom. But it obviously was something that changed Caitlyn. And she's sort of becoming a main character in this second season. And now that I think about it, I'm like, yeah, Caitlyn's a very popular character in the game. I see her all the time, even though I'm just fighting with like bots and stuff. I feel like a lot of people are either choosing to play her or the bot is choosing to play her. And the fact that there's so much Jinx stuff, there's apparently a lot of merch with Jinx, and Jinx seems like the face of all this, so yeah, they're not getting rid of Jinx. And I actually thought it was weird. See, because when I was watching season 1, I was also like, you know, I don't know if I should dislike Jinx, but I feel like I kind of like Jinx. I know she's like kind of crazy and kind of supposed to be the antagonistic force in some sort of way. Vi is supposed to be sort of the good sister. I don't know, is Vi supposed to be the good sister? She seems like she's supposed to be the good sister. But I still felt that Jinx was a much more interesting character than Vi. There's like these really expensive Jinx skins coming out, and I'm like, yeah, people like Jinx, and I thought I was weird for liking Jinx. The first act does seem kind of like a good full circle kind of arc. Like it does feel like a good act. We ended at a good spot that you're like, okay. It almost felt like the end of another season, but it was short. They did introduce a lot of stuff, which I thought I had everything down, but they're like introducing more stuff. And also, Mbessa, is that her name? Mel's mom. Mbassa, Mel's mom. She was also a character in the first season, but I didn't think she would be that important. But it seems like she's stepping into a role of importance in this show now, and she's also the newest champion in the game. So I'm like, if you do play the game, I feel like you can either see a lot of this coming, or it's like kind of predictable. But I don't know, because again, I'm not that familiar with the games. I've experienced watching this show with zero knowledge on the game, and now watching with some knowledge of the game. There's a lot to this world, but I like how the show is still focused on the main story of Piltover and Zaun sort of fighting. The whole Vi and Jinx rivalry thing is now coming to a head. And we're going to see what happens to Caitlyn because now she's kind of taking a position of leadership. And we find out that Ambessa or whatever was behind a lot of schemy things. The last 30 seconds or so of each episode had a scene of this guy creating like a werewolf. This werewolf is also like a champion in the game. There's speculation on who he is already. And so it's like one of those things where it's like I would have never known. But if I played the game, I think I would have picked up on this, right? Oh yeah, I forgot about Victor. Freaking Victor. Victor's story is getting wild too. I always forget to talk about Victor until the end. I'm just like, oh wait, Victor. Saved by Hextech once more, and now he's become like a mechanic messiah. He's like a god now. he just ditched Jace, went back to Zon, and is now like healing people with magical Hextech stuff. That's part of his body. He's like one with the Hextech, isn't he? I still don't know what is going on with him. Like last season, I was confused with his story too, and now I'm still confused. I'm like, what is happening? It was kind of weird that him and Jace broke up so quick. Again, the relationships in this show, I'm always questioning if I just don't pick up on things, but I'm like, Jace and Victor seem a little too close to just be friends. But then you also know that Jace is with Mel, so it's, I don't know, but then Victor's like, no thanks, and he just left. No, he was mad at Jace because Jace promised to get rid of the Hextech. They're finding out that this magic, them using this Hextech with magic and stuff, is creating a negative side effect. And I think it's going to be a problem further down the road. Is this going to be like a climate change issue?